Well, summer's over. I just finished my last round of golf.
Victorious.
The good news is our summer workouts are over. Basically, the first 2 practices that we've had are just an extension of summer workouts. So, I don't really need any questions about how's the team look or anything like that. We're going to find that out here in a few minutes. But day 3 got pads on, and excited to see what these guys do here today. How you doing today, Tony?
Coach, I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Did you go to Italy today?
I did.
Or this summer?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
I was there. Yeah,
You have to catch me up to speed.
I'll do it. Let me ask you this: in regard to the first 2 days, did you do testing based upon what summer workouts were, or had you already gotten your testing done?
Yeah, I mean, Mike's got his own testing situation that he does, which, I mean, I really don't look at it very much, to be honest with you. When we worked exclusively with them from a football perspective, really the whole month of June. I kind of made coaches get out of here in July. They don't need to be sick of us. We're never going to get sick of them, but they don't need to be sick of us when this starts. So, the first 2 days that we had were basically the same thing that we did in June. So they seem to be in good shape. It was a 3-hour practice as opposed to a 30-minute practice, which is all we can have in June. But they had a lot of retention from a testing point of view from coaches and stuff like that. There's a lot of retention, even with the young kids, all the new guys that we're trying to evaluate and all that. Shoot, those guys know where they're going, and that's gonna make it easier to be able to figure out if they can help us play right away or not. The old days, you taught these guys what to do right now. And now we're not really teaching them a whole lot of what to do. It's more about the technique and seeing if they can handle the competition.
What makes this year different than last year and maybe previous years?
Maturity, more than anything.
Perseverance.
That's a fair question. That's a fair question. I'm much more comfortable with what I'm doing. I go back to last year, being in a little bit different role last year. This conversation could last a long time as far as, we weren't exactly where we wanted to be last year at this point in time. I didn't know how game day was going to go, for me, just because it was a different role and all that. And, got a lot of continuity with the coaching staff. We got a lot of older, mature players. Just from an overall maturity point of view, I think this team is light years ahead of any of the teams that I've had since I've been here.
So to put your finger on a couple of things that you have to get accomplished here. That's a tricky question. I mean,
there's all kinds of things that we got to do. It doesn't matter what side of the ball that we're focused on or talking about. Biggest thing's health and continuity. The NCAA's kind of scaled back on what we can do, how we practice, and what kind of practices we can have and how long we have. So, I'm glad we have a mature team based on not having as many practices available to us. That should maintain health as well. So, probably the biggest thing is we gotta get lucky. The ball's got to bounce our way. So I want that to happen in camp.
The way you're allowed to practice now, do you get enough done?
Yeah,
you get enough done?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The one they took away some of the total practices that we have, but they gave us like some morning walkthroughs and they gave us summer as well. So a lot of the stuff that we were teaching and working with in summer and some of the morning walkthroughs and stuff like that, then one of the compromises was the amount of time that you have getting ready for your first game is going to get reduced. The amount of practice days that you have is going to get reduced, but you get a whole lot of other stuff that we didn't used to have. So, I'm excited to see the physicality and the technique with pads and stuff like that. We hadn't been able to see that since spring. From where we're at mentally, I feel pretty good about that.
With the new red shirt rule, do you evaluate those newcomers differently, even starting right now?
We absolutely we do. Yeah, there's You know, we may go through 3 or 4 weeks of practice, get going into that first game, and say, you know, still don't know if he can play, because there's a big difference between practicing out here and then when those lights come on out there. and so sometimes you can figure it out, and sometimes you guess wrong, and sometimes it takes guys another 2 months or so to be able to mature, to be able to help us. So I think that redshirt rule is one, awesome for the kids, but it helps us as coaches to the point to where it's not just a do or die situation. Either make a decision now or live with it later. So there's a bunch of different scenarios that are going to play into it. And one of the biggest things that I like as a head coach is to keep the attention of the scout teams. I can say, look, you're on scout team right here, but we are constantly evaluating you. And if you do what like David Sills did, which is go to scout team and play really, really well, then we're going to pull you up on the quote-unquote varsity team. Probably would have done that to David Long after we couldn't block him for about 8 weeks when he was being redshirted. And then we all know the Petaway story as well. Somebody gets hurt and you need a body. Well, there isn't a 2-hour conversation with the kid and his parents about, okay, look, we're going to burn your red shirt, but we really, really, really need you. So it's good all the way around for players and coaches.
How is David Long and kids coming back?
Good. He looks the same. He looks the same. So, you know, I don't even know who else was hurt, to be honest with you. But we got, like, you know, Qualls and Ferns are out. And there's another deal. Those guys are going to come back with about 4 weeks left to play. Well, guess what? We're going to go ahead and play him. You know, Ferns ain't going to need a red shirt again. I mean, he's going to end up having 18 doctorate degrees before he leaves here. But a guy like Qualls, who's a fourth-year senior, he can come back and play in the last 4 games, and then we'll be able to use him again next year. So it's a great deal for him. Those 2 guys are out. Other than that, everybody's healthy and ready to go.
From your standpoint, how important is this first depth chart you put out?
I don't even know if I have a depth chart. Did we put one out?
One of
I think we do that because we have to. I mean, how many times have you have I said I love putting out depth charts? I mean, I just told the guys in there we have a group 1 punt team, a group 2 punt team, and a group 3 punt team. So I won't use depth charts. And you know, with all these young kids and new kids and stuff, I mean, they got to understand that they may have people in front of them, but you work hard and try to beat them out. I don't look at depth charts until the week before a game. I don't talk about redshirting. It'll be different now, but I don't talk about redshirting until a week before the first game.
And assuming best case scenario and you win games, you know, throughout the first 3 quarters of the season, are you a little disappointed that they've loaded you up with TCU, Oklahoma State, and Texas, and then Oklahoma? Well, Oklahoma played Kansas the week before.
I don't know our schedule. I think we play Kansas State our first Big 12 game. I think. Yes. I know the first 3 non-conference games, especially one against Tennessee and Charlotte. That's all I've looked at this point. Does us no good to look at that. I mean, it does us no good. Look, the thing about the Big 12, you're playing everybody every year. So when you play them, doesn't matter. I mean, you all got to play them. So it doesn't matter to us. We never. I mean, our analysts get a week ahead, but coaches and players do not get a week ahead. And we'll start talking about Tennessee probably 2 weeks before the first game, and then we'll start talking about Youngstown after that.
Personnel-wise, any additions, subtractions?
For what?
Personnel-wise with the team.
I don't know. I mean, you put it on the roster, don't you?
Yes.
You put it on that. I'm not. Nothing that comes to mind.
Then you mentioned the leap between playing practice here and in games. Is there a similar gap between the summer work you talked about and this first day in pads? Some guys that just shine better when the pads go on?
Yeah. I don't know who they are. We'll figure it out.
I mean, that's the reason for.
They're going to be charging through here in about 6 minutes, and I'm anxious to watch. I mean, the older guys, we kind of know where they're at, but the newer guys, I mean, you run around in shorts, you may look good, and then you put a helmet on, and you may look bad. So,
David, did you change or adapt second year with Jake? Anything you did during the summer that you didn't do year 1 when you were getting acclimated again?
Nah, I mean, not really. You know, there is a lot of similarities and a few differences with what I did and how he did it, and you know, we're kind of merging the two, and there's some things that we looked at and understand that we got to get better at. And you know, between me, him, the other coaches, and you know, probably Will more than anything, I mean, we've made some changes and some adjustments that I think are going to be beneficial. You know, it's year 2 with Will. It's year 2 with Jake. It's year 2 of them two together. It's year 2 of me with my role. It's year 2 with Wick. I mean, you know, so year 2 is always better.